Good morning, friends. Happy Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell warned Democratic lawmakers that he will not support the new infrastructure spending bill. And this is bad news for millions of Americans. Here's today's fourth stimulus check update and daily news report. Remember, I post several times a day to bring you up to date on the latest stimulus news and information. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell warned President Biden that Republicans will not vote to raise the federal debt ceiling in December, after Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer delivered a rant on the Senate floor that Mitch McConnell called so partisan, angry, and corrosive that even Democratic senators were visibly embarrassed by him and for him. After 11 Senate Republicans joined all 50 Democrats to end debate on a short-term increase to the nation's borrowing limit, Chuck Schumer rose and accused the GOP of having played a dangerous and risky partisan game. "I am glad that their brinkmanship did not work," said Chuck Schumer, who added that despite immense opposition from Leader McConnell and members of his conference, our Democratic caucus held together, and we have pulled our country back from the cliff's edge that Republicans tried to push us over. Chuck Schumer's words did not affect the vote on the actual legislation to raise the debt ceiling, which passed along party lines, but the vitriol was too much for Senator Joe Manchin, who could be seen holding his head in his hands as Chuck Schumer spoke before walking out of the Senate chamber in disgust. Joe Manchin was not the only one offended by Chuck Schumer's words. As McConnell wrote to Biden, Joe Manchin was not the only one offended by Chuck Schumer's words. As Mitch McConnell wrote to President Biden, that the majority leader's childish behavior only further alienated the Republican members who helped facilitate the short-term debt ceiling patch. It has poisoned the well even further.
The jobs numbers also remind us that we have important work ahead of us and important investments we need to make. America is still the largest economy in the world. We still have the most productive workers and the most innovative minds in the world. But we risk losing our edge as a nation if we don't move. Our infrastructure used to be the best in the world. Today, according to the World Economic Forum, the United States of America ranks 13th in the world. 13th. On infrastructure, roads, bridges, ports, etc. We're among the first in the world to guarantee access to universal education back at the turn of the 20th century. Now, the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, catch this, ranks America 35 out of 37 major economies when it comes to investing in early childhood education as a percent of GDP. 35 out of 37. On all these investments that fuel a strong economy, we've taken our foot off the gas. And the world has taken notice, including our adversaries. And now they're closing the gap. Look, so it's essential that we have to regain the momentum we lost. As my wife says all the time, a professor she is, any country that out-educates us is going to out-compete us. The work of our time is to prepare ourselves to be competitive to win the fast-changing 21st century global economy. That's why I propose two critical pieces of legislation being debated here in Washington right now. One focus on the investments we need to make in the physical infrastructure of America, roads, bridges, ports, etc. The second focus on the investments we need to make in the American people to make us more competitive.
Before offering Democrats a short-term increase to the debt ceiling early this week, Mitch McConnell had insisted that they address the matter on their own, using the reconciliation process, which requires just 51 votes in the Senate. Democrats argued that any debt ceiling increase should pass with bipartisan support and that doing otherwise would set a bad precedent. Friends, what are your thoughts on the increase to the debt ceiling? Please leave your thoughts in the comments section below. The key word for this video is welcome. If you would like to enter next Friday's Walmart gift card giveaway, please make sure that you are subscribed to my channel, like this video, and comment below the keyword. Thank you so much, friends. Mitch McConnell wrote, the Senate Democratic leader had 3 months' notice to handle one of his most basic governing duties. Senator Chuck Schumer spent 11 weeks claiming he lacked the time and the leadership skills to manage a straightforward process that would take less than 2 weeks. In addition to the short-term increase of approximately $480 billion that allows the federal government to make good on its financial obligations through December 3rd, Mitch McConnell offered Chuck Schumer the option of fast-tracking the usually lengthy reconciliation process. But Chuck Schumer chose a short-term increase, as top Democrats insisted they did not and would not plan to use a reconciliation to raise the debt ceiling. Some Senate Republicans pushed back on Mitch McConnell's decision to offer a temporary solution, arguing it provided Democrats a lifeline as Republicans looked to strong-arm members across the aisle into passing the increase along party lines. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham told Fox News, "We screwed up. For 2 months, we promised our base and the American people that we would not help the Democratic Party raise the debt ceiling so they could spend $3.5 to $5 trillion through reconciliation. There were very few, if any, House GOP lawmakers that are expected to support the bill when it comes to the floor of their chamber on Tuesday, while most members of the Republican Senate leadership supported ending debate on the debt ceiling measure. House Minority Whip Steve Scalise is among those expected to vote against it. So friends, do you agree with Republicans or Democrats at the moment? Please leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Right now, there are still many lawmakers in Congress working on passing a 4th round of stimulus payments. In March 2020, as a crisis brought the economy to a halt, the federal government had no choice but to act. Within weeks, unemployment skyrocketed as businesses shut their doors, not knowing when they would be able to reopen them. Children, millions of which receive free breakfast and lunch through school programs, were now stuck at home, leading to fears that many would go hungry. The payment of $1,200 stimulus checks and enhanced unemployment benefits that provided more generous and expanded coverage helped the country avert a total economic collapse. At the moment, Democrats are focused on averting a debt ceiling crisis and the passage of the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill. However, with federal unemployment benefits ending and slow job growth reported in August, more stimulus checks may be needed to keep the recovery moving. So friends, if you agree with me that a 4th stimulus check should be passed, please comment below. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, friends, for joining me here this morning.